Welcome to Silvercare Dementia Center Incorporated channel, better known as SCDC. I am Dr. Erica Jones, and I am the founder and executive director of Silvercare Dementia Center Incorporated, and you'll hear me call it SCDC. Well, I just want to give you a little backstory about who we are, how we're getting started, and this channel is just going to take you through the beginning of how we're starting to develop and what we're actually really going to turn into. So, just to give you a little background here, I am the granddaughter of two wonderful grandparents. Sorry, that's my dog. Anyhow, I'm the granddaughter of two wonderful grandparents. These people helped to raise me from a baby. I mean, my mom, she had to work, and so she entrusted that my grandparents will be part of my upbringing. So I feel like for me that I owe them a lot. Well, just to let you know what Silvercare Dementia Center is all about comes from a history of some years ago, maybe about 6-7 years ago. My grandfather suffered a stroke, and some months later he developed vascular dementia. Vascular dementia had him not acting normal. He had a lot of memory loss. He was not making great decisions, which means maybe he was not dressing for the time of season, not remembering how to get to different places. Sundowning. Sundowning is the main thing. So sundowning usually happens in that late evening time all the way through the middle of the night, where he's very active, ready to go, ready to do things, and most of the time everybody else is sleeping. So what happened after he started displaying and being diagnosed with having dementia from the effects of his vascular dementia, which dementia is symptoms. They are symptoms of memory loss, loss of judgment, loss of reasoning, loss of being able to take care of yourself on a daily basis, what normal people can do, no motivation. And my grandmother couldn't understand that, even though we explained it to her after he was diagnosed, and we couldn't really understand it either. I mean, we got it, but we didn't really understand the magnitude of how serious it was. So my grandmother tried to, instead of kind of catering into his world, she tried to continue to fit him into her world of normalcy. And when that happened, she began to stress out, and we didn't realize it, but her stress caused her a year later to start having strokes. We caught hers in time, got her to the hospital, and the doctor said, hey, look, she's very independent. She can still do on her own, but she cannot take care of her husband. So we're like, ooh, what do you do? What do we do? So long story short, as you'll probably hear more stories as we go through this, but what brings me to this is the fact is that my husband and I, we had to make a decision. We had to make a decision. We worked with, we collaborated with our family, and we actually got together to try to figure out what are we going to do to keep this load off my grandmother. But in the meantime, being able, as a family, we were all still working and raising children and still had life going on. So how do we accomplish this amazing feat? So my husband and I were the only ones at that point in time that could be able to just move in and go ahead on and change our life some to be able to cater and be their primary caretakers. But with that being said, it got to the point that my grandfather's sundowning was so much every night that I was really sleep deprived. because when they're sundowning, you want to make sure that they're safe. They depends on what size house you're in. They're making so much noise. It's hard to sleep. It's hard to rest. And when that happens night after night, and you have to get up and go to work the next day, it can be very challenging. And guess what? I could run the risk. You could run the risk of an onset of dementia. You can have the risk, or I can have the risk of some kind of disease or issues that are health issues that's going on that could cause that symptoms of dementia. Like myself, I have to be very careful. High blood pressure runs in my family, and I have been having high blood pressure diagnosis since late 20s. And so I really have to be careful because I don't want to run the risk of later on having to have dementia and memory loss, and someone having to take care of me as well. But so I have to take care of your body. Excuse me. So with that being said, you'll hear a lot of things or stories as we go along through this journey of Silver Care Dementia Center being developed. Now, I do want to let you know that we are a nonprofit, 501c3. And so we were approved back in 2020, but COVID hit around that time. So we kind of put a pause, put brakes on. But 2023, we are full force and ready for action. So what happened was in 2017, in the process of me starting my for-profit business called Silver Care LLC, I ran across an article of a center that was in New York that was having an adult night program for people living with dementia, with having sleep disturbances, sorry, such as sundowning, and their caretakers needed rest. So this center came about where they took in nightly a social program, a safe environment. They gave them food. They were able to dance, and they were able to do art and all sort of things at night, being able to get their personal care needs taken care of, but even taking naps. Well, while their primary caregivers got the much needed rest that they needed, so they can be able to go on and move and not be affected solely by what's going on. So I was like, at that time when I was like, oh, I found a gold mine, and I was like, let's bring that to Hampton Roads. Let's do that. Let's do that. So Silver Care Dementia Center was developed. Silver Care Dementia Center is ready to be a night program that's going to support people living with dementia and their caregivers, along with helping caregivers with nutrition, education on dementia, exercising, a healthy mindset. Not just the caretakers, but the community as well can be a benefit for that. So join me in this ride as you see Silver Care Dementia Center Incorporated go from zero to amazing. I've already envisioned that not necessarily we're going to have one center, but there's centers going to be all across the city, all across the state, all across the United States, various chapters of what we call SCDC. So what you could do, subscribe to this channel so you can get alerts when I have new content come available to discuss where we're at and how we're going with SCDC and how amazing this journey is going to be. I'm very, very excited. I am the executive director and the founder of it. My partner is my husband, of course, Lawrence Jones. He is the vice president, and he's on this roller coaster ride with me too, because he wants to see this take off and be such amazing, along with all my family and friends that know about it. So take a look at our wonderful website. It is www.scdcva.org. So send us a message, see the different programs that we're going to be offering, everything from companion care, the respite night program, and there's also dementia care consulting. So take a look at that, and I'll be back with y'all soon with more content to discuss how SCDC is moving forward. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like it, and I'll see you soon.